What's up guys, Alex Wallace here, and today we are doing our bi-weekly Q&A, or answering comments. Sometimes it's a question, sometimes it's just something I'm referencing. But as always, this is not medical advice. This should not be used to treat or diagnose medical conditions. This is for educational and entertainment purposes only. Let's get into the first question. This question comes from G. So probably not, English is probably not his first language, so some of this I'm going to not really understand, but I'm gonna answer it as best as I can. But he asks, hello sir, I got my vein treated by a doctor, and that doctor gave me Nandrolone Decanoate injection, 50 milligram every 5 days. He gave me about 15 injections, due to which my testosterone has decreased and sperm count has decreased. Is this a side effect of this injection? Please answer, sir. So I'm gonna answer it. So first off, let's talk about you got your vein treated by a doctor with Nandrolone Decanoate. I have no idea what you're talking about. Maybe there's something lost in translation there. Maybe you were dealing with like anemia and you have an old school doctor that treats it with Nandrolone. But I can make a comment about the decreased testosterone and decreased sperm production. So again, this isn't medical advice, talk to your doctor, but yes, Nandrolone Decanoate will absolutely lower your testosterone and it will absolutely lower your sperm production. So I have a couple charts to look at. So I did a deep dive on Nandrolone. I'll link that at the end of this video, but this is a flow chart I made like a year ago. I would edit it a little bit if I could go back and do it now, but it serves to answer the question that you have. So when you take exogenous Nandrolone, what's gonna happen is it basically tells your hypothalamus and pituitary that androgens are present. Now it's not testosterone, but it is an androgen. And as a result, that has negative feedback. And I'll go into another chart to explain that too. But your testosterone will start to go down. And though Nandrolone does aromatize into estradiol, it does it in a very low amount. It doesn't aromatize at the same rate as testosterone. So your testosterone is gonna go down, your estradiol is gonna go down, and estradiol is actually very important in the male body. And your DHT, which is debatable, but I do think it has some sexual benefits, also starts to go down. What's unique about Nandrolone is that Nandrolone is also progestogenic, meaning that it activates the progesterone receptor. And this is very, very suppressive. So not only is your testosterone going down because of negative feedback, but you're also activating the progesterone receptors, which is gonna go a long way to basically sterilizing you, to make kind of a complicated thing very simple to understand. Another chart I want you to look at, I did this maybe 2 weeks ago, is how the negative feedback works with the hypothalamus. So you have the hypothalamus at the top that gets input from testosterone and estradiol, and in this case, there's progesterone receptors in there too. The hypothalamus releases GnRH, which hits the pituitary and releases LH and FSH. LH is responsible for stimulating the Leydig cells, which makes testosterone and aromatizes into estradiol. FSH activates the Sertoli cells, which basically helps your body create sperm. So what happens when you take this Nandrolone? I already showed you how it makes testosterone go down and it's progestogenic. You lower GnRH, you lower LH and FSH, so now your body is producing less testosterone and it's producing less sperm. And it's so suppressive that a lot of guys on Nandrolone will see almost zero sperm count. Now, there are guys that can still get their girlfriend pregnant, so don't think that it is birth control, but progestogenic compounds are the backbone of a lot of birth control, and that's for good reason. It's very suppressive. So I don't know how to say your name, but that was a good question, and I hope I answered it. Next question comes from Brandon Fazier Stand. Says, can you still restart your fertility if you choose not to do HCG alongside TRT? Like if I wanted to go off TRT and then use HCG, if I decide I want fertility back, currently 33. So let's answer this in parts. Can you restart fertility if you choose not to do HCG alongside TRT? Yes, you can, most of the time. And in our case, every time it has worked. It's easier to preserve fertility than it is to reestablish it. So it's easy for us to maintain sperm count when we start guys on TRT and HCG. But you can certainly stimulate your Leydig cells. You can also stimulate your Sertoli cells with different medications. You can absolutely In our case, it's every time, but most of the time, reestablish fertility. Like if I wanted to go off TRT and then use HCG if I decide I want to get my fertility back, yes, I kind of answered that. But honestly, dude, a lot of people that stop TRT, they'll feel like garbage for X amount of months. But even if you look at the clinical research, almost everybody got their sperm count back after cessation of testosterone or even anabolic steroids within, I think it was a year. Some guys it took up to a year, but almost everybody can reestablish fertility. And if they can't, there's medications to kind of help that further along, but I hope that answers your question. Question number 3. This dude I've been talking with back and forth in the comments. I'm glad and happy to get to this. This is from Joe Bueno 619. He says, great content. Thank you. Question, I have 50 milligram Anavar prescription. Plan is to run 12.5 once a day for 2 weeks. Then 12.5 once a day non-training days and 25 milligrams twice a day, 4 days a week on training days after the initial intro 2 weeks. I'm also on test 100 milligrams a week. Stats are 45 years old, 5'10", 230, muscular, been on TRT for 4 years. Your thoughts? So I like a lot of this. I like the fact that you're starting low to kind of assess tolerance and see how your body responds to it. Honestly, dude, you might be fine doing 12.5 milligrams once a day and you get everything you want out of it. You're getting the pumps, you're getting the cosmetic effect, you're getting vascular. So there's no reason to take twice as much if you can get everything you want out of it with the smallest effective dose. That's typically how we like to treat our patients. That's what I do for myself. I did Anavar. I took 25 milligrams of Anavar every single day for 32 days. And honestly, I think that was too much. It cut my HDL in half. I looked sweet, but at the same time, it probably wasn't the healthiest thing. This is where something to consider. So you're saying 12.5 milligrams once a day on non-training days, 25 milligrams twice a day, 4 days a week on training days. So Anavar has a very short half-life. It's like 9 to 10 hours. So the idea of splitting it up into 2 doses makes a lot of sense just in terms of keeping the serum levels of the drug consistent in your body. The 25 milligrams pre-workout, that's what I did, and I definitely got a good, it's weird. It's not like a pre-workout where you're jumping out of your skin and you're getting itchy, but you definitely get a better pump, better mind-muscle connection. There's a lot of benefits to it. But if I were to not really care about my HDL and just want to maximize the anabolism from this drug, I would probably do the lowest effective dose twice daily. Again, because you are keeping the serum levels consistent and you're gonna have, I don't know, more effect. There's more area under that anabolic curve, if you will. But if I were to split it up in different ways, I would take my biggest dose before training because, like I said, it does have a pre-workout effect. So I like the idea, in short, I like the idea of starting low and going slow. But if I didn't give 2 shits about my HDL, I would space it out twice a day at the lowest effective dose and just kind of run with it that way just because of the half-life of the medication. But I hope that answers, man. I hope that helps you out because we've been talking a lot back and forth. This question comes from Buffalo Bill 5709. Buffalo Bill asks, been taking Enclomiphene 6.5, I'm assuming milligrams, every other day. Test went from 491 to 415. My doc raises 12.5, mun to fry, let's see what comes out. Yeah, that makes sense, dude. You're on such a low dose. You're doing it every other day. Your testosterone is going to go up and down throughout the day. Even when you're doing something like Enclomiphene, yes, you are tricking your body into producing more of its own testosterone, but you're not manually cranking your testosterone like TRT. Like with TRT, let's say I sleep like trash, I don't eat right, my training isn't right. When I pierce my skin and push testosterone in, that testosterone is just in me. Now the Enclomiphene is working to make your body produce more, but it's not, at least in our experience, powerful enough to offset anything else that you do. So at that low of a dose, doing it every other day, I'm not gonna say it's normal for your testosterone to go down, but it's not surprising. But it looks like you're working with a doctor, which is great, and he's doubling your dose and increasing the frequency. So I think you're on the right track, man. Start low, start slow, minimal effective dose. That's how you get the minimal side effects. Cool, let's do one more. Last one. This comes from Davin8R. He asks, well, it's not really a question, it's more of a statement. He says, my understanding is that an Anavar-only cycle will tank estrogen because it suppresses testosterone production, and males get their estrogen from testosterone through aromatization. It has nothing to do with SHBG. Taking testosterone along with Anavar or using Enclomiphene/HCG should help to offset the testosterone estrogen suppression. So let's break this up. My understanding is that Anavar-only cycle will tank estrogen because it suppresses testosterone production. Yes. And I'm gonna pull out this chart right here. This is the Anavar effect, oxandrolone. So if you take an exogenous androgen, yes, it is going to act like an androgen in your body. As a result, like we were looking at that chart before, you start to see some negative feedback. Your hypothalamus is going to sense that androgens are present, lower GnRH, and lower LH, which is going to lower testosterone and estradiol. So you are 100% right. Looking at this oxandrolone chart, I did a deep dive in this medication. I'll put that at the end of the video. Oxandrolone lowers testosterone, lowers estradiol, and with DHT, it kind of has a weird effect because although it lowers DHT from testosterone, it is a DHT-derived medication, so it's kind of like a plus minus next to that. The next thing, it has nothing to do with SHBG. For our intents and purposes, we're just gonna say yes, that's right. It's a little more complicated than that because oxandrolone does free up testosterone by lowering SHBG, but your testosterone's going down. So that's gonna take a little more thought and explanation than I'm ready for right now in this Q&A. Taking testosterone along with Anavar or using Enclomiphene HCG should help offset the testosterone estrogen suppression. Yeah, if you're taking exogenous testosterone, the Anavar is going to free up more testosterone. So yeah, I mean, you're gonna have the benefits of testosterone because it's not just going down. Enclomiphene HCG, the HCG in our experience is more reliable to keep your Leydig cells active, to keep your body's natural testosterone up than Enclomiphene with an exogenous androgen. HCG just seems more reliable, but if you have something different, if you're somebody that is on exogenous androgens and you're able to keep your LH and FSH up with Enclomiphene, let me know in the comments, but HCG does seem to be like a stronger medication for preserving natural testosterone when taking exogenous androgens. All right, guys, that was 5 questions. If you learned anything, do me a favor, like the video. If you're interested in content like this, don't forget to subscribe. My name is Alex Wallace. I'm the owner of Steel Health and Hormone Center. If you're interested in becoming a patient, go on my website, Steel Health and Hormone Center, center spelled RE.com. Fill out a contact form. My onboarding manager will be in touch within 24 hours. Again, guys, like the video, subscribe to the channel, and I'll see you in the next video.